Hey guys, it's Pastor Otua. It's officially week 3 of the daily walk. We only have 5 weeks, so we're about halfway there. So I want to encourage you guys to keep journeying with us. I just want to reiterate that our goal for this series, if nothing else, is just to encourage you guys to get into the Word, to open up the Word every day. Even if you're not sure, how to study it exactly or what you're going to get out of it, that you would just trust by being inside Scripture that God would speak to you. And so with that, I want to say that starting today, we're going to have some new faces, new people sharing some of their own personal methods, and I trust that you'll be blessed by that.
Welcome to day 10. I'm so encouraged to see you walking daily in the Word, and I believe that He is doing a great work in you. I'm Grace Kim, the Director of Outreach and Missions here, and it is an honor to walk with you. In the past weeks, our Associate Pastor Otua has gone through the inductive method. This is where you observe, interpret, and have life application. Today, we'll be doing a contextual method. It is similar to inductive, but with contextual method, you observe the context of the passage and see how it relates to the book as a whole. So when I read a passage, the way I observe the context of it is by relating it to previous chapters and the main theme of the entire book. With the time allotted, I'm not able to go through all of this. So what you're about to see in this video is what I do now with the information collected and put it to use. So today I'll just focus on a couple verses. Let's begin. Today we're in Philippians 2:12-18. But before diving in, I usually take some time to worship and pray. So if you need time to prepare your heart as well, feel free to pause the video. In verse 12, I saw the word therefore, which told me to remember the context prior. This is where I went back and studied what was before, particularly verse 6 to 11. Then in verse 13, I observed the word for, which told me to bring together your and God. Just like how the word therefore takes me to the previous context, the word for brings together what was before and what was after. So already I knew there was a connection, a relationship between God and His children. When I went back to study previous chapters in consideration of the theme of the entire book, I was able to come back to this passage and break down this relationship between God and His children into two things. One, there is a call on us children of God. And two, there is a promise of God. First, there is a call on us children of God. The call is then to work out your salvation. There's a sense of endurance and an active motion to live out our faith. And we do this with fear and trembling. Now, from previous contexts, I understand that fear is not out of a worldly one, but out of a holy reverence to the name above all names, because we remember Christ's work on the cross. And trembling refers to Christ-like humility. This is pointing back to an earlier exhortation to imitate Christ's obedience and humility as He humbled Himself by becoming obedient to death, even death on a cross. So our call as children of God is to endure in our faith walk, knowing fully that our salvation is not within our own self-reliance. Second, there is a promise of God. The promise is in the phrase, for it is God who works in you. There is a promise here that we are not alone. And this is not any God. This is the same God in verse 6 to 11. So this is the God of all gods, the sovereign God who works in you. After I studied this relationship between God and His children, I began to reflect. I was very encouraged and thankful by it all. Thankful that He provided not only a way for me to be free and the ability for me to endure today, but also He promises to work in me as His child. For our application today, I'd like to invite you to take a moment to reflect as well and then to pray a prayer of thanksgiving for all that God has done and is doing in you. Thanks for joining.